When I think of the most iconic American vehicle ever made, a Jeep Wrangler instantly comes to mind, which is why this all-new JL Wrangler is one of the most important new vehicle launches for the Jeep brand. I'm at the 2017 Los Angeles Auto Show, and this is the 2018 Jeep Wrangler. Let's take a first look. So when you have a vehicle as iconic as the Jeep Wrangler, changing the design is not something that you want to mess with all that much. And you can see the look of the all-new JL body style doesn't look entirely different from the JK, which is a good thing. This has always been a really handsome vehicle. However, when you start looking at the details, you'll notice that Jeep has really brought this into the 21st century. Now, this particular one, being the Rubicon, has available full LED headlights with an LED daytime running light and LED turn signals. And then if you look at the grille, it's the traditional 7-slot grille, although there are some slight changes in the slats and the way this actually looks. The headlight is bigger, so it kind of protrudes into the horizontal slats, and this is also a slightly larger grille. Now, the Rubicon model comes with these steel bumpers. This is the only trim, I believe, to get the steel bumpers. They look great, they're durable, they have integrated tow hooks in them. You can actually put a winch in here because, with Wrangler buyers, you definitely want to be able to have that option. Now, coming around the sides of the vehicle, all the Rubicons will come standard with these 33-inch tall all-terrain tires on 17-inch wheels. These are Kevlar reinforced tires, and the fenders are raised up to about 2 inches from the standard models, so you can actually clear a 35-inch tall tire with a lift kit if you guys want to do that. I believe Jeep actually offers that from the factory. Now, the Wrangler's body may look very similar, but it's an all-new platform. It's an all-new body-on-frame platform with a new suspension, and it's actually bigger. The wheelbase is stretched either 1.4 or 2.4 inches based on either the four-door or the two-door, or the overall length is either 2.8 or 3.8 inches longer. This being the two-door is nearly 3 inches longer than the old one. Now, you're probably noticing a couple things here. There's a big hole here. Let me talk about that in a second. But what makes the Wrangler one of the coolest new cars on sale today is the fact that the windshield can actually be lowered. Before, you had to remove 28 bolts or something like that. Now they've reduced that to only 4 bolts, and it's really easy to do. Once you release those bolts, you take off the windshield wipers, the rearview mirror and the sun visors actually stay. You grab it right here, and then you just put it down ever so gently. And voila, you can actually put the windshield down just to add in that whole open air experience. And then when you want to put it back up, just grab it right here until it kind of just sits right there. It's a little heavier than I expected, but again, just kind of be careful. You don't want to smash the windshield on your new Wrangler. Anyways, let's talk a little about this hole right here on the door, because this is the half doors that's going to be available late in 2018. Now, there is a filler panel here to cover this up in case there's water, if you guys don't want to get water in your car. But these holes here help you see rocks when you guys are taking this vehicle off-road. And it's honestly a really cool feature. The doors, of course, are still removable. They're now made of aluminum, so they're a lot lighter versus the previous generation Wranglers. Now, coming out the rear of the vehicle, there are new LED taillights on the upper trims when you guys get the LED headlights, which is good. And then you can see here the steel bumpers kind of carry over. And looking underneath here, the Wrangler still has one of the best approach and departure angles, and all the models will basically come with about 11 inches of ground clearance to help you get through all those rocks that you plan to take this vehicle at. Now I'm standing by the Sahara trim, and I want to show you guys a couple of things. First of all, the fenders are 2 inches lower on this particular model versus the Rubicon I showed you, and these street-oriented tires look awfully skinny and small. Not necessarily my taste. I think the Wrangler looks best with the 33-inch tall off-road tires. But let's take a look underneath the hood of this new Wrangler, because it has 2 all-new powertrains, which is a Wrangler first. Before, you could only get 1 powertrain. First of all, the hood is easier to open. It's got these 2 latches here that are honestly a cinch. It's aids to that character that the Wrangler's always been known for. And then when you open up the hood, it's got another latch here that you kind of push open. Still has a prop rod, which comes out over here. Put that in here. Now, this is the base motor. This is the motor that's carried over basically from the old one. Although it's slight tweaks, it's a 3.6-liter Pentastar V6. Still no direct injection, but it pumps out 285 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. This is the only engine available with a 6-speed manual, which is an all-new transmission. And the 5-speed has been replaced. It's now an 8-speed automatic for improved fuel efficiency. This engine also comes standard with start-stop technology. Jeep says the MPG has been improved by 2 or 3 miles per gallon, depending on the transmission. Now, the upgraded engine is actually an engine from the Alfa Romeo Giulia. It's the 2-liter turbocharged twin-scroll turbo design engine. That engine makes 270 horsepower. It's a 4-cylinder, but more torque than this, about 295 pound-feet of torque. Now, that engine will be only available with an 8-speed automatic. Jeep says this new Wrangler, because of aluminum in the hood, aluminum in the doors, and some of the suspension components, is about 200 pounds lighter versus the old one. Now, in 2019, there will be a diesel engine available. It's the 3-liter Eco Diesel V6 from the Grand Cherokee. That'll make 260 horsepower and a stump pulling 442 pound-feet of torque. Now that engine will only be available on the 4-door model. Now all of these Wranglers can pretty much tow about 3,500 pounds. I am seriously looking forward to driving this one, especially with the diesel and the 4-cylinder turbo. But until then, you'll have to wait. This vehicle will go on sale in January. So definitely the most dated element about the old JK Wrangler was the interior. And you can see, stepping into the new JL body style, Jeep has completely rectified it. It's filled with a lot of premium materials, upgraded seats, new technology that the Wrangler has never had. Now, every Wrangler will come standard with the push-button start. It's actually waterproof, or Jeep says, in case you take it off-roading and water gets in there. The smart entry is also standard. That's also a Jeep Wrangler first. You couldn't get that before. Now, this particular one that I'm sitting in is the Sahara trim. It's only available on the 4-door at launch, and it's kind of the more street-oriented luxury trim. I'm really liking the interior. I mean, it has a heritage-inspired dashboard with lots of upscale touches that I wasn't expecting. You can see there's stitching on the dashboard here, on the airbag cover. I like the circular vents. You have a choice of 3 different head units. This is the largest 8.4-inch Uconnect. It's their 4th generation. It has Android Auto. It has Apple CarPlay. The door panels here are also soft touch. I wasn't expecting that in the Wrangler. Now, the last Wrangler I sat in had terrible seats. The seats were so hard, they were uncomfortable. The headrest was literally made of cardboard or a rock. These seats are really comfortable. I like the leather. It feels supple. It's really soft, plush headrest that comes up and supports my neck very well. It's just a very upscale feeling cabin, and that's really what the Wrangler needed. Now, the steering wheel also, it's a new steering wheel design. Feels good in your hands. You have updated gauges with a 3.5 or 7-inch display, so they've really modernized this Jeep. Now, speaking of which, you can also get a lot of connectivity features. You have 2 USB ports in the front here with an aux port, power outlet. You can choose between an 8-speed automatic like this particular one or a 6-speed manual if you guys go for the 3.8. You have dual zone automatic climate control. I mean, these are features that you couldn't find on a Wrangler in the past. Now, speaking of which, this 4-door model has the hard top, and it has a power retractable soft top that actually retracts back like a sunroof. This is going to be a late availability for sometime in the 3rd quarter of 2018. It makes this a really easy vehicle to kind of let the sun in. Before, you had to take off those freedom panels, you had to store them somewhere. So it's nice to see that Jeep has really made this interior a lot more comfortable, but it still has a lot of the character that you expect a Wrangler to have. This one, being the Rubicon model, surprises me with the interior quality. Now, first of all, you're probably noticing the red color on the dashboard. That is not color coordinated to the exterior color. It's an option, but it's either red or I believe an orange color if you guys go for that option. I think it looks really nice. Actually, in this red combination, this is probably the one I would go for personally. Now, you're probably noticing, and a lot of you enthusiasts are gonna be happy, a 6-speed manual. This is the standard transmission on the V6, and it's an all-new transmission. The actual clutch is a really short travel. I'm surprised by that. And the shifter itself, Jeep says they've really redesigned it to have less vibration when you're just sitting there idling, and it has a lot shorter throws. I'm really surprised. The last one I drove had really long, rubbery truck-like throws, and this is really nice. So I am super excited to drive this. As usual, there's a lot of new technology in here. If you look at the center stack, there's a lot of auxiliary switches here. There you have the ability to disconnect the anti-roll bars for those moments when you're stuck or you need to get a little bit more wheel articulation. And I really like the seats on this Rubicon trim with the red stitching. They're comfortable, they're supportive, and honestly, this interior is a lot more upscale than the Wrangler has ever been, and it's really going to be pleasing to a lot of buyers. Now, this 4-door model is definitely the one to get if you guys plan to do some people carrying in your Wrangler. And because of that stretch in the overall length by about almost 4 inches, there's a pretty good amount of legroom back here. When you shut the door, you can see I'm 5'7". I'm not very tall, but I mean, there's plenty of foot space. I can get comfortable back here. And the seats also have been improved. The leather's nice and soft, although I do wish it had a little bit more thigh support here to support your thighs. But there's some nice creature comforts. There's a nice little armrest here that folds down. There's cup holders, so you can sit 2 people across. And the view from here is nice. You can see this sunroof, or this little panel here, extends all the way back, so you have some nice light that comes in along with the fresh air. But Jeep says this new Wrangler will go on sale at your local Jeep dealership in January with no pricing yet announced, but the old one started at around $24,000. I would expect this one to be a little bit newer. The one thing that really shocks me is how expensive Wranglers can actually get. A fully loaded Rubicon model should be topping at around 50 grand, at least for the old one, but at least now the new Wrangler's interior kind of matches that and has the off-road credibility. So when this hits dealer lots, I imagine that this car will be in super high demand when it does so. For Redline Reviews at the 2017 Los Angeles Auto Show, I'm Sophian Bey.